Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome you to the next Industry 5.0 keynote speech, which takes you beyond artificial intelligence. My name is Mike Rada. I'm human, and I'm the founder of Industry 5.0. And before we start, let me introduce Industry 5.0 to you. Industry 5.0 is the first industrial evolution ever led by man by human. In fact, it represents the missing link between nature and human-made ecosystem. It was launched on December 1st, 2015, and it recognizes and prevents 5 types of waste: physical, social, urban, process, and the wasting of time. In 2024, it is already present in 118 countries and is based on natural intelligence, utilizing the existing on-the-ground mines. And if we speak about artificial intelligence, so let's look at Wikipedia. It says that it is intelligence exhibited by machines and computers, especially computer systems. Generally, Wikipedia articles dedicated to artificial intelligence have today more than 22,000 words, or 127,000 letters without spaces. What is interesting, it was found in some way already in 1956 at a workshop at the Dartmouth College in the USA. One interesting part, which you will not learn in Wikipedia, is that Industry 5.0 has 0 words dedicated in article. It's banned from Wikipedia from the very beginning. And did you know that the term robot is already more than 100 years old? It was introduced in 1921 in Czechoslovakia, 75 kilometers from a place where from which I'm recording this keynote for you. It was introduced by the writer and screenplay called Karel Čapek, and his screenplay it's called RUR, Rasmussen Universal Robots. You may know that the 3 principles or laws of robotics has been introduced in 1942 by Isaac Asimov. In the year 2000, the United Nations acknowledged the risk of cybercrime. And in 2023, the value of cybercrime was $523,000 every single second. So we have a choice. Every one of you probably, or most of you, have a smartphone, which is a great device because it is everything. It can be 24/7 connected. It's a data terminal. It's camera, video, social media, email, and even you can make a phone calls and send SMS messages. You for sure have heard about a smartphone, but have you heard about a voice phone as well? It's one which will allow you to make a phone call or send SMS message. The smartphone, because of its complexity, can utilize up to 87% of your free time. The voice phone, just 3%. And the one which I will show you on the screen is the only one in a mobile phone history, which was 3 years in a row the best business mobile phone in the world. Not a single one repeated. It's Nokia 6310i. There is a lot of digital waste. I don't know if you ever heard how much obsolete data are stored in the data centers. It's 85 to 90%. I don't know if you ever try to analyze how many pictures you took with your smartphone will become almost immediately obsolete. It's 75 to 85%. 95% of data scanned by barcode readers in shops or in warehouses are not being used. If you ask someone who has a mobile app, weather app in their mobile, what is the weather? The person frequently looks at the screen, not out of the window. If there will be electric shutdown or blackout, it will be immediately lost to data access. And I don't know if you ever try to analyze your older post on LinkedIn. You cannot do it if the posts are older than 24 months. We are creating digital landfills which consume more water for cooling than cities. We can look at Industry 5.0 timeline from different perspectives, for example, from the financial one, because it started really with zero, but the first amount it generated reached 250,000 US dollars. Then it jumped to 475 trillion. And today its estimated value is bigger than 1 quadrillion US dollars. If you see just these numbers, sorry, it is hard to say if it's interesting or not. But if you see it in the time, you realize that there is not a single company or a single example from a history where these numbers has been reached in less than 9 years. What is the existing reality? I was born on December 24th, 1971. At the day, our planet was called Blue Marble. But in 2019, the planet was not blue anymore. The environmental damage was so big that the planet was covered in gray and brown color. But then something very strange happened in 2021. The blue phase show up again, not because we changed intentionally our behavior, but because a virus locked us down. We are living on a planet around which we have been able to establish a global landfill with more than 170 million pieces of a space debris, space trash. Just this week, a man in California received a shipment from the orbit. A waste fall down on his house. Luckily, did not kill anyone. And what we do to the planet? We dig inside. Because the only criteria of success is more money, more companies, more houses, more cars, more. If you would like to get on the ladder of Forbes, Fortune 500, you have to have more than the others. Ask Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mike Bloomberg. Ask those who are already there how they get on the ladder. We are living on a planet together with more than 8 billion people already, not knowing that 200 years ago it was just 1 billion. 100 years later, it was 1.5, which means despite of 2 world wars, 2 worst pandemics, and more than 650 war conflicts, there are more than 5-fold people living on a planet. And in 2050, some predictions say that it should be 11 billion people living on the planet. And just now, please remember the last image I showed you. We are living here in 206 countries according to UN 193. We are speaking 7,000 languages. We ride more than 1 billion cars. And we let every single year to die 9 million people hungry, despite the fact that we waste every single day more than 23 million metric tons of food and crops. We let 800,000 people die thirsty every year, despite the fact that only California crude oil industry is consuming more than 347 million liters of drinking water every single day. We plant our food and grow it to throw it away because the leaves are not green enough for the buyer in a chain store. We put our overproduction in the landfills and in the rivers, not to spoil the market price. We carry our water in firefighting tanks, not knowing that the same amount of water is needed to produce just one and simple hamburger. And we do it on a planet on which one sip of water can save not one, but 2 lives. We stored the obsolete packaging in factories on the parking lots for employees, waiting till it became waste. We work in factories and businesses which has walls lined with environmental certificates, and behind the walls, the landfill is created by the same player. We waste products which are not fine for one, instead of using it for hundreds and thousands of others. We listen to the words of World Bank, which says that till 2050 the waste volumes should grow. In some destinations it should even double. Despite the fact that almost everything can be reused or repurposed, the same report says that only 13.5% is being reused or repurposed. This is what makes the waste industry the third most profitable industry in the world, following the war industry and the crude oil industry. We make one big mistake in the past. We built our future on the top of a pyramid, like the waste pyramid, not realizing that the pyramids has not been built for the living ones, but to store corpses inside. I realized that fact already in 2010, and I decided to build another groundstone, a groundstone which will be stable even if the ground will shake. And I call it 6R. And let me explain to you how it works. Because firstly, you have to recognize that something must not become waste. And trust me, that's not an easy task if you waste the item before. But the second step is even harder, because you have to reconsider what to do with that waste, with that item which you take out of waste and is not waste anymore. And you will probably fail for the first, second, third time, but then, at the moment when you succeed, you will change the world. I have spent 8 years to write a single page in PowerPoint. In the meantime, I publish over 3,000 articles. But this page needs more. And it was launched on September 1st, 2021 already. It was never needed in a human history, but unfortunately we need it now. Because we stop to understand that there is no waste if we do not waste. And what may sound strange, but you can check it, not a single legislation in the world define how waste is being created, so it must be part of the waste prevention framework. And again, it is very important to understand that wasting is not a feature of a product or material, but it is the result of human behavior. And the single use is one of the most common forms of wasting. You can hear a lot about the growth. If you read the media or listen to politicians and decision makers and world leaders, they present the growth as something negative, but they are lying to you. Because the growth is not the sign of fail, but stability. In fact, the growth does not represent scarcity, but the mindset of enough. The growth does not mean a lower profitability. In almost all the cases, the clients who start to implement Industry 5.0 principles and aim the growth are more profitable than before. The growth is one of the groundstones of evolution, and it does not waste resources. In fact, it does not destabilize but stabilize the system. And it does not need capital investment to degrow. Degrowth is a tool nature used regularly, not only in the seasons of the year, but even every day, because the day is the time to grow. The night is the time to degrow or relax. Industry 5.0 restores the missing link between nature and human-made ecosystems. It is the first industrial evolution ever led by man by human. It's a new mindset of people and businesses from wasteful to wasteless. It delivers results without the need of capital investment and is based on the principles of industrial upcycling. It utilizes the existing on-the-ground mines and is based on transparency, profit sharing, and efficiency. And please understand one, Industry 5.0 is not a sales tool or a buzzword. It's a new global ecosystem. Dear ladies and gentlemen, a few years ago, the education of our children have to switch from one day to another, from physical to virtual. Our work followed it, and everybody or many have to work from home offices. And our leisure time was digitalized a long time ago, so it looks like that the only thing which needs to be digitalized is human himself. But if this will happen, our home will look like this. And that's not a mistake, because data don't need any light. I realized that more than 11 years ago. And I decided this is not my home, and I decided to build another home. I call it Wasteless World. And do not worry, I'm not alone. My name is Michael Rada. I am a human. And together with me, they are 118 ambassadors representing Industry 5.0 principles in 118 countries already, giving the access to the knowledge of Industry 5.0 to more than 93% of global population. And please let me remind you one important thing. The giants start to shrink when the humans start to grow. Thank you for your time. You gave me the most valuable asset of your life. And I hope not a single second of your time was wasted. Have a nice time, free of waste and wasting in all its forms. Stay safe, be free, and be human. Thank you.